Let's get you back inside of that Michigan courtroom for the battered and burned murder retrial for Linda Stermer. We're listening to a retired detective who is detailing how Linda Stermer told her everything unfolded at their home.
Ever grabbed him.
Did she say if she saw Todd when she was driving around to the basement area?
No, she said the time from driving around the north side of the property to the back side, she did not see Todd during this process.
Did she tell you at any point she got out of the van?
She did. She said she got out of her van and hollering or yelling, and she saw him again in the side yard, and that's when she said she ran over to him and she covered his body with herself.
And you said that he was in the side yard at that time?
That's correct.
And did she say where approximately in the side yard he was?
No, she just told me side yard.
And she said he was on the ground?
Yes.
Did she tell you what she was doing when she was then covering herself with him?
Well, she said that his face was burned and that he was gasping and she was trying to keep his mouth open.
And did she say if anyone else arrived?
She did. She said her neighbors Mike and Connie and a Mr. Masali got there. She doesn't know where or when they got there. They were just there.
And did she say if at that time when they arrived that Todd was still breathing?
She did. And she said that somebody threw something over the top of him. And from that point on, she didn't really remember a lot.
Did you ask her questions about how the fire may have started?
Well, I asked her if Todd was a smoker, and she told me that he smoked a pipe. I asked, actually, she clarified with me earlier in the interview. I had asked her if there was a fireplace in the living room, and she told me there was. She clarified with me that there were actually 2 fireplaces in the house, and that there was a fire going in the upstairs living room fireplace.
Did you ask her if there was any kerosene in the house?
I asked her if there was any, or I asked if where they kept their kerosene, thinking that they possibly had a kerosene heater or something like that. She said that they didn't have any kerosene that she was aware of.
And did you ask her about how they did heat the home?
I asked her about the fuel tank, and she said that they did heat their home with fuel oil and that it was professionally filled.
Did you ask her about any potential oil lamps or anything in the home?
No, she told me that there were 2 oil lamps, one in the living room and one in the dining room.
Did you ask her about what the arguments were about prior to the boys leaving?
I briefly asked her if there was a series of little arguments leading to a big one, and she said no, it was just typical relational argument. And she said that Todd was under a lot of pressure, that his business wasn't doing well, and they were just arguing over typical stuff. And she said that he was also angry with her that she had attended her grandmother's 90th birthday party the night before.
And at that time that you were talking to the defendant, did you have any knowledge about blood on the van?
No, I didn't.
Did she ever offer any information about running Todd over?
No.
And you didn't ask because you didn't have the information, is that correct?
That's correct.
Then did you obtain search warrants then for the van and for the residence?
Yes, I did.
Did you have any further involvement that day at the scene?
Yes, after that, I took several photographs at the scene before my camera battery died.
And did you see the tire tracks in the yard?
I did.
And were they marked with flags at that time?
Yes, they were.
And could you tell where those tracks started and where they led to?
They appeared to be coming from a blood puddle area leading to where the van was parked behind the residence.
And you saw that after your interviews then with
Yes,
Mr.
actually, yes.
Were you back out to the residence then on January 8th of 2007?
Yes, along with Lieutenant Stump, we both were.
Anyone else present there when you were out there on January 8th?
Yes, the fire marshal, Sergeant Leroy, and there were members of the fire department.
Did you take pictures of the scene then on January 8th?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit number 31. I'm going to show you a series of pictures marked from 1 to 23, so there are a total of 23 pictures. If you could just flip through those pictures real quick and let me know if you recognize them. This is 31, Your Honor. And then there will be 23 pictures included with 31, all then marked in the bottom right-hand corner like our previous photos.
Yes,
And do you recognize those?
I do.
And why do you recognize them?
I took these pictures.
And those were the ones taken on January 8th of 2007?
That's correct.
Altered or changed in any way?
They don't appear to be.
Your Honor, I'd move for for the admission of People's Exhibit number 31 into evidence at this time.
I have no objections, Your Honor.
I'm going to keep permission to publish. I'm going to keep them in front of you, and I'm going to then put them on the screen and just have you describe for the jury what we're looking at. So this is picture number 1. Can you tell the jury what we're looking at?
This is a picture of County Road 275, I believe that was, 215, sorry, County Road 215, and I'm facing north. And then I'm just going to be just a little bit north of the driveway of their residence.
So this is the road out in front of the house, is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm going to advance then to the second slide. What are we looking at here?
I'm still standing on the road, but right at the apron of the driveway, facing north.
And when you say the driveway, you mean the Stermer driveway?
That's correct.
And that would be on the left of the photo?
Yes, going west.
I'm going to go then to the third photo. What are we looking at here?
This is looking west down the driveway, the Stermer residence. So you can see the address 66598 on the wooden post at the end of the driveway.
And I am going to advance now to photograph number 4. What are we looking at here?
That's just a closer view of the address at the end of the driveway.
And I'm going to advance then to slide 5. What are we looking at here?
This is the driveway as I'm proceeding closer to the residence, still facing west.
So this is you are going down the driveway, you are
That's-
taking pictures?
That's correct.
I'm going to go then to slide number 6. What are we looking at here?
Again, the driveway, just getting closer to the residence.
And you mentioned that others were on scene. Is there any evidence in this picture then of others being on scene?
Yes, several vehicles, plus I see the fire truck.
And again, this was the day after the fire.
Correct.
I'm going to advance then to slide number 7. What are we looking at here?
Again, getting closer to the residence, still facing west on the driveway, closer to the fire truck and the other vehicles there.
I'm going to advance to then slide number 8. What are we looking at here?
This is the front of the house. It faces east. You can see several fire department personnel there.
I'm going to advance then to slide 9. What are we looking at here?
Again, a closer view of the front of the residence or east side of the residence.
I'm going to advance now to number 10. And what are we looking at here?
This is a picture of the, it would be the northeast corner of the residence.
So just to be clear, for those of us who are directionally challenged, the front door.
The
would-
front door would be on the, yes,
To the left?
yes, to the left.
And that would be then, my pointer is covering the overhang then to the front door?
That's correct.
And it would be then walking around to the right-hand side of the house?
That's correct.
And I'm going to advance then to slide number 10. And what are we looking at here?
This is the north side of the house. And you can see that the grade of the lawn appears that it's going to a walkout level to the back.
And I'm going to stop you to the left on the home. Do you know what this is? It would be kind of a brown area on the house.
Yeah, it appears that that was a service door, and the other one appears that it was some type of a slider door, but there weren't, it didn't appear that there were any finished decks or any way to go out. It didn't appear that they were using them, actually.
So there were no improved decks coming off of those doors.
That's what it looked like to me.
And then I'm going to...
All right, we do have to step aside for a break, but before we do that, we do want to give you the latest developments out of New York, where a federal judge today dismissed the corruption case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. It's a case that was dismissed with prejudice. That means the Department of Justice is permanently barred from refiling those same charges in the 5-count indictment against the mayor, including bribery, conspiracy, and campaign finance violations that were alleged. Mayor Adams addressed the public earlier, saying he's glad this chapter is over, and he thanked his legal team, saying he can see why people from Jay-Z to Alec Baldwin seek attorney Alex Spiro out. We'll be right back with more trial coverage in Michigan after this quick break.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, Karen Reed stands trial once again for the death of her police officer boyfriend. We're live with every development as this huge trial gets underway.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
Is Karen Reed a killer girlfriend
She's guilty.
or the scapegoat in an elaborate cover-up?
Karen Reed was framed! We know who did it.
The Karen Reed murder retrial. Live coverage coming soon following jury selection on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are going back into that Michigan courtroom where we've been watching the battered and burned murder retrial. Our Court TV cameras are in Paw Paw, Michigan this afternoon. That's where defendant Linda Stermer is facing a jury for the second time in the death of her husband, Todd. Prosecutors say Stermer drugged Todd, beat him with a frying pan, then lit him on fire, all before running him over with their van. And this jury has seen video and pictures of that van. Let's get you back into court now, where we're hearing from a retired detective who responded to the crime scene. A lot of these detectives have taken the stand and have been retired. That's because this case happened back in 2007, nearly 2 decades ago. Let's go in.
And then I'm going to advance to slide 12. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so this is going to be as I'm walking around the house again. So this is still the north side of the house, but probably it's the northwest side of the house.
So if I'm looking at the front of the house, it's on the right-hand side, but the back corner of the house, is that correct?
That's correct.
So you're still just walking around
I'm
the home?
walking around the home, yep.
And I'm going to advance this to then slide 13, and what are you looking at here?
This is the back side of the residence, the west side, and you can see that the lower level is the walkout level or basement, and the upper level is the main floor level.
And I'm going to advance now to slide 14, and what are we looking at here?
This would be the southwest corner of the building or the house.
So are we still looking at the back of the house here?
That's correct.
Are you walking up to then the other side of the house?
That's correct.
Which if you're in the front of the house, this would be the left-hand side of the house.
That's correct.
I'm going to go ahead and go to number 15. What are we looking at here?
That would be the south side of the residence.
So again, if I'm in the front, looking at the front of the house, it'd be to the left.
That's correct.
And I'm going to advance now to slide 16. What are we looking at here?
This is the backyard, and I'm facing north. And you can see some evidence flags on the ground.
And do you know what those evidence flags were depicting from the day before?
Yes, they were marking where the van had parked.
And that's where you saw the van parked the night before.
That's correct.
We're going to advance now to 17. And what are we looking at here?
Again, the backyard facing north with the evidence flags indicating where the van was parked.
So the back of the home would be to the right-hand side of this picture, is that correct?
The back of the home would be to the right-hand side, yes.
I'm going to advance then to slide 18. What are we looking at here?
Again, evidence markers, back side of the home as well, depicting where the van was parked.
So, and this is where you saw the van parked the day before?
Yes.
And can you tell specifically then what those are marking?
I believe that they are marking where the tire tracks were.
I'm going to advance now to slide 19. What are we looking at here?
Again, this is the back side of the residence. I'm facing east now.
And are you looking at the back of the home here?
That's correct.
And again, the same evidence flags?
Yes.
I'm going to advance now to slide 20. What are we looking at here?
Well, it was like a lean-to horse barn area. Again, that was in the back side of the residence.
When you're looking at the residence, was this lean-to on the left or the right?
Say that again.
If I'm looking at the front of the residence, was this lean-to on the left or the right?
The lean-to would have been on the right.
On the right-hand side?
I believe so. Wait, I don't understand your question.
So when you were walking around the home,
Okay.
if you're in the backyard,
Yes,
where would this be in relation to the tire tracks that you saw?
to the right.
To the right corner?
I believe so.
Would it help refresh your memory if I showed you a report on where that is located?
Sure.
I'm going to come back to this photo for you.
Okay.
I may be confusing in terms of my questioning.
Okay.
Do you know what direction this shed was? Or this particular lean-to? Like in what corner of the property?
I believe it was on the southwest corner of the property.
On the southwest corner, so
Yes.
did I confuse you with my back and front?
I think so.
So this would be on the southwest corner of the property?
Yes, as I'm walking around, yes.
Okay. And I'm going to advance this now to 21. What are we looking at here?
It looks like a horse trough and pen for the horses and the lean-to.
So this is the same lean-to that's in the other photo?
Yes.
Just the other side of it?
Yes.
I'm going to advance then to 22. What are we looking at here?
This is back out in the front of the house, and there was a gas can to the south of the porch and east of the residence, and that's a picture of that.
And so I just want to be clear what we're all looking at. Are you looking at this item here in the front yard?
Yes,
And you had a chance to examine what that was?
yes,
And you said it was a...
gas can.
I'm going to advance then to 22. What is this?
This is a closer picture of the gas can, and there appears to be like a nozzle there.
I'm going to advance then, I'm sorry, that is the bulk of the pictures. After these 2 days that you were on scene, what was your involvement in this investigation then, at that time?
Well, we continued with if any witnesses came forward. I got people that called into the sheriff's department. I would follow up on any leads. Continued to support Detective Maziowski, and if he needed anything, I would follow up on anything with him. And we continue to wait for laboratory reports to come back, and I wrote some search warrants also.
Did you participate with an interview with Ms. Kate Fox on May 17th of 2007?
Yes, myself and Lieutenant Stump, we both did.
And do you recall where that interview was taken, what took place?
Yes, that was at her workplace.
And were you able to then speak to Ms. Fox at that day?
Yes, we did.
And did you talk to Ms. Fox about any of the details of this case or anything, any knowledge you had of this case before you did your interview?
No.
Was your interview to gain information from her of what she knew?
Yes.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, in between the cross and direct, we just finished direct. Let's bring in our trial attorney, Tangi Bush, who is standing by. Tangi, what do you make of the detective's testimony? When I'm listening to it, I'm thinking about these pictures in this huge yard around this house. The gas can there is definitely a problem for Linda Stermer, but I'm also wondering about this chaotic scene where she's driving away and whether or not it would have been easy for her to not notice where her husband was.
Yeah, it makes it so that the defendant's story is even less believable. Again, the detective has done a great job of giving us a full layout of the land, the scene, where everything is situated, the home, as opposed to other fixtures on the property, even the main road. There is a lot of open space. There's a lot of space in between. And again, reiterating the fact that the children were sent away. A space that would have normally been occupied by several people was essentially unoccupied, right? It was just those two individuals there, the decedent, unfortunately, the victim, and the defendant. And so to say that in this chaos, she could not locate her husband, who is on fire, again, it leaves more questions than answers regarding the defendant's explanation as to what happened. I think that this detective on the stand has given a great layout to the jury to consider and compare it against the defendant's story.